Well, hey there, guys. It's Corinna Bench, and I am the founder of mydigitalfarmer.com. I'm also the founder of this Facebook page. And hello, happy Monday to all of you. If you are brand new or you are watching this from a YouTube channel later on or my Vimeo channel later on, I just want to say welcome. It's really glad to have you here. And if you want to learn more about what I'm teaching, I do show up every week inside my private Facebook group for CSA farmers and talk about a marketing nugget. And you can find that and get access to that by going to sharedlegacyfarms.com/DFLab for Digital Farmer Lab, DFLab, and you can subscribe, give me your email address. And not only will you get into the private Facebook group, you'll figure out where it is, but you'll also start getting an email sequence from me where I can kind of give away to you some of my best stuff to get you into the marketing mindset. So today I'm showing up for my weekly training inside this group, and we are talking all about testimonials. This is kind of a part 2 or 3, I can't even remember anymore. Talking about testimonials specifically. Today we're talking about mining testimonials. Where can you find great testimonials? Now, we've already spoken in a previous training about what makes up a great testimonial, what's kind of the formula, what are the characteristics of a great testimonial that will actually help someone convert. But in this training, I want to talk about where you can find them, because testimonials are everywhere, as you will soon discover. And once you know where they are, you'll start noticing them more. When you kind of put your eyes on and look for them and you know where to look for them, you start to see them pop up. So I want to kind of walk you through my list of places that I kind of keep my eye out for them. And that's all I'm going to talk about in this training, and we'll talk about the next step in our next training next week. So one of the first places that you want to try looking for your testimonials is on your actual Facebook business page. So there is, as you are probably well aware, a section kind of at the top, the testimonials, the reviews and ratings section. This is where someone can go in of their own accord and type up some kind of a testimonial. They can leave a 4-star, 3-star, 5-star review, sort of like Amazon has. And so you should be aware that that is there, and kind of keep your eye on where you're standing. And from time to time during this season, I feel like there's sort of a burst of activity in that area, and then it kind of lulls. At least that's how it works for me. And we'll talk in a next training about how you can kind of keep encouraging people to go there on a regular basis so that there's constant activity and updates in that section. Hi, Angeline. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Hello. So definitely just be aware that that is a place where testimonials will show up, and you can go in there from time to time and take them out, lift them out, and use them for your purposes. I always try to make a discipline of commenting on them. I didn't always do that, but I'm trying to remember to go and check and then comment every time someone does leave a testimonial, just to thank them and let them know that I saw it. Another place that you'll find them obviously is inside an Instagram post. I mentioned Instagram just because that is becoming kind of the hot app right now, the hot platform, I should say. And so just be aware that people will and can talk about you in their Instagram post. They might post a picture of something they made with the vegetables from your CSA, and they'll give you props for it. And so if you, every now and then you'll find a gem, but maybe they'll say an extra sentence about why they like your farm or what's so great about a particular vegetable or a particular feature. So just be looking there as well. And I have a feeling that that is going to become more and more of a place where our customers will be putting their pictures. Another place you can look for them is inside a Facebook post. So I have a private Facebook group that's really engaged and really active. I actually taught a course on how to build a private Facebook group, which you can learn more about. If you want more information about that, you can private message me. But a private Facebook group is a fantastic place where you can actually kind of cultivate and coach those kinds of testimonials to happen. And I find them every week. I see potential testimonial worthy type posts. So it might come inside of a picture that they post about something they made, or it might be someone else asks a question or makes a comment, and I'll see another person comment off of it. We actually had a poll that we put in a couple weeks ago. My community manager put in a poll question about, what features of our CSA education program are they using the most? What are the parts where they're really going to get access so they can learn how to use the box? And then she had several options, like our academy and our newsletter and the recipes, etc. And we had a whole bunch of people vote in the poll, but we had a lot of people comment. And within those comments, I think I had 3 different ones where people were actually saying how much they loved the academy. Now, I didn't actually put that poll out there so that I would get those kinds of testimonials, but those ended up being great pieces of content that I can then pull out and use on a sales page about my academy when I try to sell it to other people. So again, that was a place inside of a private Facebook group, inside of a Facebook post where I found a testimonial. Another great place to find them is inside of an email. And I'll talk more about this in my next training about how you can actually get these to come to you. But I occasionally get emails from people who just want to tell me how great they love my product. And maybe something happened that week where they had a quick win, or maybe I sent an email out that gave an idea or a video idea training for something. Like I just sent one out about how they can microwave broccoli leaves and make broccoli leaf chips in 2 minutes in a microwave. And I've had a couple of people already respond to that email and say how cool that was, and then just a little sentence about how much they appreciate what they've learned from me. Okay, so every now and then I'll get emails like that are that have the characteristics of a strong testimonial. Not every email is, right? But some of them have some really good sentences that I can then kind of lift up and put somewhere else and save and archive for later. So emails are really good. And thank you notes. So it doesn't all have to be electronic. I'm sure that you occasionally get notes from your members. Maybe when they send you the check for the CSA, I know that's when I tend to get them. They'll write a few sentences inside of the thank you note. And then periodically throughout the season, I have a few super user members who are really good at gratitude, and they'll actually write me a note and talk about how much they appreciate it. And I save some of those and put them in a little folder, and you can pull out sentences from those actual physical thank you notes and use them as testimonials as well. If they're well written and they have those characteristics of a strong testimonial. You can see the previous training for that. Okay, I mentioned this before, but I'm just going to lift it up. I don't know how many of you are going to be able to get this very easily, but this is I call it my testimonial book, Celebrating 10 Years of Growth. This was a book that was given to us last season on the occasion of our 10-year anniversary as a CSA, and it was actually put together by our CSA members without Kurt and me knowing about it. We got kicked out of our private Facebook group for about 48 hours, and I was freaking out wondering what was going on, talking to my community manager, like, well, I can't get back in, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. And then I come to find out later that it was all part of this big plan so that they could secretly ask the members while I was out to give reasons, why they love the CSA, and they wanted to put this memento book together. And so all these people submitted these thank you notes and how much they loved it. And then I got back into my Facebook group, none the wiser, until like 2 months later, when I was presented with this book. And inside of this book, there are, just tons and tons of pictures that they took from the group, and then, testimonials that came through on the email. So this is a gold mine for me. I actually keep it on my coffee table and I read it just to encourage myself sometimes, but there's testimonials in here. And so I can go in and lift these out. Now, I'm not sure what this will look like for you, but you may have something kind of like this if you've been around for a while too as a CSA, a similar kind of thing that your customers may have given you, and that would be another place where you could go and grab some testimonials. Another place to look are end-of-year surveys. So at the end of every season, I send out a survey to my customers. I have kind of a standard list of questions, and there's a few new ones that I throw in there every year to try and help me figure out where they're at in their customer journey and how I can grow them to the next level. But some of those questions that I write specifically to try and coach the testimonial, to try and get them to say some things about how they have transformed as a result of being in my group. So I'm going to go through in the next training how to coach great testimonials, and I'll go through some of those survey questions at that time for what you can ask. But surveys are a great place. The one thing about surveys, though, is that you have to get the person to write their name down, and that may not be something that you want to do. Maybe you want it to stay an anonymous survey, and that would be a little bit trickier. But if you can get them to give their name as part of the survey, and get their permission to use the stuff use their answers in a testimonial later on, then that's completely appropriate. And you'll find a lot of really great gold inside of that kind of a tool. Then there are other platforms that you can find testimonials on. I didn't want to leave this off the list, but if you put your farm, your CSA on Local Harvest, for instance, I know that that platform has a place for people to leave reviews, so you may find some there. If you have a listing on Yelp, or maybe you have a really active YouTube channel and people can go and comment on your videos or on a particular teaching element that you have in there. Those are also places where you may potentially be able to coach a testimonial if you do it right. So just be aware, LinkedIn kind of depends on your avatar, but there are other platforms where you might find some of those kinds of testimonials. Okay, another place to find a testimonial I want you to consider is just verbally. Okay, you may find yourself talking with someone, one of your members, in a conversation at the pickup site, at a farmer's market, at a farm event, and they're just telling you how much they love your product and how much this has changed them. And as you're having that conversation, a trigger is going off in your brain and you're thinking, wow, they love my farm. They're giving me a testimonial right now. And you can't actually sit there and scribble it down on a notepad, but what you could say is, hey, would you be willing to go home and write this down for me? That was so beautiful, and I would love to have it as a memento, and I would love to use that to kind of help other people want to become a part of my CSA. Just be really honest. And more times than not, I've done this a couple of times, only a couple times, but it does work. They'll go home and they'll write it, and it'll be even better than when they said it. And then now you've got, a testimonial. So a lot of times it just starts because someone's talking it out with you, and that identifies them as a super user, as a fan, and then you can ask them, you can, again, coach them. I'll go through that next time, but you can coach them through how to actually go home and write that testimonial. Also, interviews. So I have talked about this a few times in other trainings, but my whole journey into this wonderful world of marketing kind of began when I decided that I was going to interview my CSA masters. And I identified about 20 people that I knew were my super users who were really good at using my box, and I got on the telephone with them and I called them and I asked them a whole bunch of questions. I have a video training about that, how to do a great telephone survey or telephone interviews with your top avatars, to really help mine some information about who your avatar even is and what questions you would ask. So I would encourage you to find that video in the archives in this page and watch it. It's a really good one. But out of that, I have this file folder that's full of notes on all my individual members and what they talked about. And I was scribbling fast and furious everything they said. And sometimes inside of those interviews, they would actually say this beautiful sentence. And I actually, a few times, caught it. I wrote it down, the whole sentence, and I circled it, and I'm like, that is gold, So, this idea, I think there was one that I read somewhere too, in my last training, one person had said, it feels like Christmas every time I open the box. So it's little like gems, sentences like that I could quickly scribble down, I would, and then I would circle them and say, this is great, straight from the horse's mouth, and it's just got a lot of power behind it. The words are they evoke a lot of emotion. So, if you do this process, which I encourage you to do to get to know your avatar, to try and telephone 10 different people in your CSA, the super users, okay, the ones that really love you and they love you, take notes. And I have heard, I don't do this, but other other marketing gurus in other industries, they actually will do some of their interviews over Skype, or they'll do video calls so that they can record them. And then they have this actual transcript that they could pull from. So, that's a little high tech. I don't know if you need to do that. You can just take notes too. But that is what the big time marketing people do in other industries. Okay, so don't underestimate the power of actually interviewing someone and having a pen and paper there to scribble down what they might say. And then the last place that you could possibly find a testimonial, and this is something that occurred to me as I was preparing for today's message, was partnerships. So there may be, partnerships or affiliates. So you may have an affiliate farm or an affiliate company that you work with because they have alignment with your brand. So in our case, we have a meat, what am I trying to say? A meat company, okay? So not a meat company, Weber Ranch. They're a ranch and they do cows and they do pigs and they do chickens. And so we have a partnership with them where we tell other people when they ask us, where can I get grass-fed beef, or where can I get chickens and pigs and pork, we can say, hey, Weber Ranch is really awesome and we totally recommend them. So Michelle is actually in my private Facebook group for my CSA. But if they have, a page on their site, they could potentially talk about us. If a question comes up on their page where someone says, where can I get vegetables? They might actually recommend us, right, to their customers. So it's possible that you could create some kind of a partnership with another affiliate who has alignment with you, and you could work out an arrangement where, like, hey, every now and then could you plug me, or could you do a post, or could you do something to try and make people aware of who I am, and just be watching for testimonials there. And the same from them. So I know that from time to time I have posts that happen in my private Facebook group about Weber Ranch, and people will ask, where can I get pork or chicken or whatever, and I don't even have to bring it up. My community members, my CSA members, will answer that question in droves and say, oh my gosh, Weber Ranch, they're amazing, you have to take, all their pork is blah blah blah, and they'll go into a description and a detailed description. And so Michelle is actually in that group, and she could see that, she could mine that information if she wanted to as testimonials. So this is another great idea, just to think through who are some of the companies that you have natural alignment with, other farms, or maybe it's a cheese, someone who makes cheese for you, and just kind of think that through, because there might be a way for the two of you to partner, and then maybe you can find some testimonials that way. Okay, so that was my short list of some of the places that you can find testimonials for your CSA. And in next week's training, I'm going to talk about how do you actually coach the testimonials from some of these locations. What are some things that you can do to make them happen more frequently? And I have several suggestions for you there, and some of those things I've done quite a bit in my own farm. I will say before I leave that once you start getting these testimonials, I actually have a place where I put them. So it's not enough to just mine them and find them. You want to take them, you want to pull them, and then archive them somewhere so that they're easy to find when you actually need them. So the next time you want to create a Facebook ad that's pretty much a testimonial, or if you want to put one on a sales page or in a flyer or whatever, or in an email, you don't have to go hunting and freaking out, where are they? You have a place where you've been putting them whenever you find a great one. And so a great strategy for this is simply to put together a Google Doc that you call testimonials. And you can create sections for each one of your product lines. And whenever you see a testimonial come through, just cut it and paste it and stick it inside that Google Doc. That's what I do. And this Google Doc continues to grow and grow and grow. I always make sure that I put the name of the person and the date, and I also make sure that I have permission to use it. So I will usually reach out to that person and say, hey, I'd love to use this potentially as a testimonial. Can I do so? If it's in a testimonial section of my website, or of my Facebook page, I don't do that. But if it's just kind of randomly comes out in my Facebook group, I will actually take that extra step and ask them. So just be aware that that's something you should do as a courtesy, but you should create a place like a Google Doc where you can just store everything, so when it's time to go and find one, it's easy to do so, okay? So there you have it. Those are my top 10 list of places to find testimonials. Catch me back next week here in this group where I'm going to talk about how do you actually coach the testimonial. If you've been enjoying the content and you're watching this on YouTube or Vimeo later on, you can find this group that I do these live video trainings in every week by going to sharedlegacyfarms.com/dflab, and it will give you the link to this private Facebook group, and it will also give you a email series. You'll start getting some free stuff that's going to help kind of jumpstart your journey into the marketing world of CSA. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will catch you next week. Look for those testimonials. They're everywhere. Bye.